Today's show is dedicated to a beloved saxophone player, musician, and featured artist on so many different things across the music industry. From one of my beloved hip hop albums, J. Cole's Forest Hills Drive, to touring with Trey Anastasio Band, sitting in with Phil Lesh and friends, also sitting in with Billy and the Kids. On August 28th, 2023, James Casey passed away after a fight against colon cancer. Just 3 years prior to his passing a couple days ago, we lost a very popular actor who also passed away by colon cancer. His name is Chadwick Boseman. This is a cancer that is very common in African American men, especially at young ages. Chadwick Boseman passing away in his 40s, and James Casey passing away at the age of 40. Early detection of this cancer, early treatment of this cancer can help prevent it from winning. And hopefully, with the loss of these and so many others across the world, people will be looking into their family history. If you have a history of colon cancer in your family, please get tested early and ensure that if this does indeed come to fight against you, you can win. So we're going to start off this show by playing a clip from my first and final experience seeing James Casey live. He played at Mohegan Sun on November 12th, 2022 with Trey Anastasio Band, but also before that, he sat in with Goose. And this song is Fish in the Sea. It's a Fat Freddy's Drop cover that he played with his fellow hornmates from Trey Anastasio Band to hop in on this song Goose was playing. Rest in peace to James Casey. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, the rest of his family, and all that know him, from his collaborators in the music scene to the beloved fans who saw him live or listened to his music via studio albums he was a huge part of. This is Fish in the Sea, Mohegan Sun, featuring a powerful sax solo by James Casey towards the middle of this clip. All right, the DMB post show stream starts now.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Ariya. Okay, so this is Ariya, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Oregon, what up? If you played the Oregon Trail game on the old Apple computer with the 2 floppy disks, shout out to you. Eugene, Oregon, what up? Portland, Oregon, what up? Beaverton, Oregon, what up? Salem, Oregon, what up? Shout out to Clatskanie, Oregon. Great town. Warren, Oregon, what up? Astoria, right by the border. Shout out to Vancouver, Washington. Corvallis, Oregon, what up? What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. Like I said at the beginning, man, rest in peace to James Casey and rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, two talented men who lost their lives in their 40s to colon cancer, early 40s. But yes, if you do have a history of colon cancer, definitely please consult with your doctor about early screenings because in these cases of their passings, that it was critical as far as them not knowing until it was too late. And James Casey did play with Dave Matthews Band last in 2019 at Jones Beach. The band put out a statement. Jeff Coffin, Rashawn, many of the artists from DMB themselves put out statements, but this was a huge loss in the music world. We do want to talk about this Bend, Oregon show. And we're going to get to our friend Ted Bro in a little bit from Twitter. But first, we want to get to a guest that has been on this post show stream since it began. A good friend and a great DMB fan who's lives in the East Coast, but has come out west twice to see the band in Bend, Oregon. Here, and we're gonna go ahead and bring on Ariya. Ariya, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am
Can you?
doing well. Tell us about this show tonight in Bend. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. I mean, for me, I think I probably said this before. If I'm dancing, then that means it's good. There were songs on there that I kind of expected to be on the set list, you know. But I think for Bend, it was probably a huge treat for, people. Um, Yeah, I thought it was great. I was on rail. I was getting lots of good pictures, so I was glad for that. I really love the venue itself. I sort of teasingly said to someone they should play it all venues where it's all GA, but I know that wouldn't go down well with some fans. So, but yeah, no, I like the set list. I loved Spoon. Grace is Gone. That's one of my all-time faves. I like Lover Lay Down, Drunken Soldier, Warehouse, of course. All Along the Watchtower, Break Free. I love Pantala, Naga Pampa, and Rapunzel because I'm a huge BTCS fan. And as another friend with the chops to have an educated opinion said, Rashawn was really great on Brick House.
That's awesome. And speaking of this venue, was there a pit lottery with it being all GA? Is it first come, first serve?
They actually did the first entry registration and lottery, and I was fortunate enough to be selected for that, so that helped me get on rail. Um, but other than that, it was just all GA after that. After the first 100, I think for the non first entry warehouse ticket holders, some people started getting in line at 5 or 6 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
Um, I like coming to Bend because I like going birding, and so I was chatting with people after I finished birding, and it was a pretty nice day to stand in line. I mean, the weather wise, so I think that helped for the people who didn't get the first entry.
Gotcha. Well, that's great though that the weather, like you said, is better. Now, compare this to the last time you were here in 2021. Walk us through what that was like as far as the smoke then, and then what
Mm.
compared to the conditions today.
So I would say that the smoke 2 years ago was a lot worse. Um, I arrived here Sunday late afternoon, and it was crystal blue skies. And then the smoke moved in rather quickly around 7 p.m. Sunday. Um, and it, I felt like yesterday it smelled smokier during the day than it did today. So I think it did get better faster here this time around.
Okay. And that's always a concern for these shows out west. It appears from what I was hearing online that with the tropical storm, the hurricane that came through Hillary, that it did help the gorge area, different portions of Washington, which can all have different weather systems, just 40, 50 miles apart. It appears that's going to help for gorge weekend. Now for this show, it seems like they started early. Did they come on earlier than normal compared to your other shows this year?
Yeah, they announced that this show was supposed to start at 7 p.m. rather than 7:30. And I'd say the band walked on the stage at 7:15. My understanding is that from talking to one of the security guards there right in front of the pit or in front of the rail, is that the venue had a hard stop at 10 p.m. For people who aren't familiar with Bend or this part of Bend, there are a lot of very nice homes near the venue along the water, along the river. And so I'm assuming that the community who lives around the venue probably is sensitive to late shows.
Gotcha. And from the looks of it, just the pictures online, this is like you said, open GA. It appears there's no roof. There's nothing that really separates or can kind of keep that music in. Is that correct?
Correct. A lot of the restaurants along the river across from the venue, I think if the smoke hadn't been as bad as it was, they and I'm not sure if there were people, but I think they have it set up so that some of the restaurants with patio seating probably offer special deals for people to sit on their patio and listen to the show. So there's nothing, there are no walls or anything for the venue.
Gotcha. And so this year they play before the Gorge. Was when you were here in 21, was that after the Gorge?
Yes, because that was the year that the tour started late, and so there were a bunch of dates that got kind of pushed around. And so if you'll recall in 21 for the Gorge, that was the beginning of the alternative format,
Right.
when both Carter and Stefan were out. So that carried over into the Bend show as well.
Okay. And what's better for you now that you've experienced both? Would you rather have this Ben show before the Gorge or after the Gorge?
Oh, definitely before. Because, well, I'm saying this now because I will be camping at the Gorge for the first time this year, and I imagine that after the Gorge, I'm going to be exhausted. So I can't imagine going to the Gorge camping and then following that up with another show on the West Coast. So I'm happy for Ben to be the sort of prelude to Gorge weekend.
Gotcha. And best of luck with camping for the first time. And I know there can be that kind of debate for many fans. Should I camp? Should I get a hotel? Should I get an Airbnb if someone's offering that up because they sell out quick? They sell out like the week after the Gorge many times for some of the closer things. So that's awesome that you're diving into the camping option. Any other final thoughts about the show, about the environment, about the fans for this show?
Um, like I said, Bend is one of my favorite venues. I just think given its location, its proximity to, decent hotels, just being in the midst of nature, and being very minimalist sort of enhances that. And so I think it's the perfect setting for a DMB show. And I think the people here were great, the locals as well as fans who traveled to come to see the show.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on, and thank you for supporting the stream all these years. Safe travels up to Washington, wherever your next stop may be on the way to the Gorge.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, so I want to thank Ariya for coming on the stream, and we're waiting for Ted Bro to be ready. I will say this about Oregon. There are I both times I've been to the Gorge, I came in on a Monday or Tuesday before the Gorge weekend even starts. By the way, great idea to do that. If you have many times I know some people come in Thursday because financially it's an expensive trip, especially if you're driving or flying but have camping gear or have to get a hotel. But I will say this, if you can get down to the Washington area or North Pacific Northwest on a Monday or Tuesday. That also allows you, if in a situation like this, there are like Florida right now. Shout out to all our Florida friends. I think DMB Mamas, if you're on, I thought I saw you pop up really quickly. I know she's in Florida. So we just want to wish the best to everyone out in Florida. I thought I saw DMB Mamas, maybe not. Oh yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, there's a hurricane mode here in Sarasota. So the storm is coming is northwest of where she is. Our folks in Citrus County. She's on the south of Tampa, but north of Tampa, that storm's coming. But anyway, um, getting there earlier allows for you to get a easier to in and out for the rental to rent. And it also allows you for time to explore without being stressed. So I say that to say that both times I've gone, the first day, literally, I land in SeaTac and I've driven 2.5 hours to the Oregon coast. It is absolutely beautiful for those who haven't been. It's peaceful. I know there's a lot of bad talk about Portland, and I actually avoided Portland for that reason. I'm sure there's great part, but I just the Pacific Northwest has some wild stuff going on in the cities. I'm good. Even Seattle. Seattle's a great city, but there's some stuff going on there that the streets need to be cleaned up. Anyway, going outside of the cities in the Pacific Northwest, going to small towns, it is absolutely peaceful, beautiful. Just the drives, like going through. Like I said, I stayed in a town called Klatskanee twice when I was out there, and at a very small hotel, nicest people working at that hotel. And then I went out to the coast and then that would come a little bit inland to Klatskanee before heading back up to Washington State. And it's amazing. It's amazing to be out there with nature. Tons of stuff, like it's a whole land full of hiking and exploring. It's one of the final frontiers here. Obviously, Alaska is obviously that's really the final, but this is one of the last portions of the lower 48 that were kind of discovered and inhabited, and it still is very natureful. You're not going to find outside of the cities. It's just again awesome. Same thing with Washington State. Eastern Washington is beautiful. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Shout out to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I was out there in 2019 before the gorge, and just a beautiful city. I know it's a city, but it's still clean and it's quiet, and it's not it's not as big as Seattle or Portland there. So yeah. So yeah, interesting show, and that's a good tidbit to know that there is a curfew. The venue is just like I said, it's kind of like the Wilmington, North Carolina venue where it's just you have a stage, you have speakers, and there's no sound barriers or roof or anything to kind of keep the sound in, and it's a quieter area. So they have that curfew, which makes sense why they started right a little before 7:30. Let me see if we can find. I'm gonna check in on Ted Bro just to see if he's ready. Here, okay, we're still waiting on Ted Bro. Let's see. Yeah, still waiting on Ted Bro. While we're waiting on Ted Bro, let's take a look at a couple of things. When was the last time where had okay, so let's take a look. Now, speaking of Ted Bro, he had an awesome view on the rail as well. One cool thing about this, oh, who was it? It wasn't him. It was at Irvine. I caught this, and shout out to Nick. But this is I'm gonna play this clip. There's a little bit of a different opening to Walk Around the Moon, and it started. I noticed at Irvine Night 1 on Sirius XM Radio Channel 30, that Friday show, Friday the 25th. So let's take a listen here to the beginning of Walk Around the Moon.
I hope I have a good time.
Buffering. I don't know why my internet's wild right now. My internet is wilding out, guys. Just bear with me. We're gonna try to get this up. But anyway, it is a cool little clip that's not playing. All right, let's pull it back and see if this will work. But this is Walk Around the Moon with a different intro than it normally has.
Bruh. Hope I have a good time.
Sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties here, which is wild because it's 2 a.m. This is when the internet should be the best because nobody's on it. Anyway, he starts it, stops the main riff, and then starts playing it again. But I don't know what's going on with this clip.
Bruh.
Oh my, this is ridiculous. Anyway, go onto my Twitter page. You'll be able to play it fully. Twitter Conserviz or X Conserviz 34. It's right here. Let me exit out of here, and it won't even let me exit out now, man. I don't know what's happening, man.
I have found a stranger walking in the woods. She was not quite like anyone I knew. Red dress, polka
Oh my.
dots, shadows in her hair.
What are you doing?
All right. So we having some issues there. So we have some technical difficulties here. I don't know what's going on. Let me try to exit out of this. Maybe this will help. But that is there. There you go. That is there. Watch it. But it stops, starts, stops again, starts there. So I think it's cool to have that variation. It's kind of a little bit of a different vibe there. And just a cool thing that they've added on. And I love to see that from stuff. I feel like some of the Come Tomorrow songs don't have the evolution and growth and the consistency of just being fun, being played over and over again, as some of these Walk Around the Moon songs are aging much better, even though it's only been a year or two for some of these songs, a year for others, and some of these songs just came out as far as live this year. But I do think the Walk Around the Moon songs to me are just better than the Come Tomorrow songs here overall. And it's a shorter album, which means it allows, even if they play a different Walk Around the Moon stuff, there's still plenty of room for other stuff to come in. And so we get Spoon third play of the tour. Right, we get a fifth Drunken Soldier, fifth Lover Lay Down, sixth Spaceman. I said about Spaceman, I'm not a fan of Spaceman in the sense of it's not something, oh, I really want to see that, but I like the uniqueness of it. I heard it the last time I heard it was with Bela Fleck sitting in with the band, and it's all right. But I like how they're playing different songs from Big Whiskey. The Shake Me Like a Monkey, You and Me, even stuff like Seven, which I think played rarely, is fine. But I've heard it so much over the last decade, like last 11 years to be exact. Why I Am, I'm sorry. I know it's the tribute to Leroy Moore. I think the tribute to Leroy Moore is actually Lying in the Hands of God, which has his saxophone part there, despite his passing. But like Why I Am, I don't need to hear that for the 30 millionth time. They played a couple Baby Blues. They have 6 Spacemans. Virginia in the Rain has 22 plays. Now, some people may not like that, but that's a Away from the World's, or sorry, Come Tomorrow song that wasn't played that much before this tour. Full band. It had been moved and relegated to Dave's solo. So I love how that's back. Yeah, 22 plays is a lot, but I'd rather have 22 plays of Virginia in the Rain than 10 Virginia in the Rain plays and 12 That Girl Is You plays. Okay. So I love that. Sweet is still around. It was made over here in the Buddy era with some extra piano and sax, piano and guitar stuff. And I still think it's working well. Come On is there. You get 5th play of the year. I know a lot of people like that song. I think without, and I know I talk about we don't need the fiddle. I think without the fiddle or violin, even though it's a Come Tomorrow song where, obviously, Boyd was already gone by the time that in 2018. I think without a violin, it doesn't hit the same. I believe they had one in 2018 at the Hollywood Bowl. I think that violin makes a difference. Where to me, the studio version of Come On is better than the live version because you have that you have the strings there. But still, a good one. Encore definitely screams Curfew. Rye Whiskey, which not a huge fan of, but it's a good song. I've heard it. Once you hear it a couple of times, in my opinion, it's like, all right, I don't need it anymore. That's just how I feel, and it's it gets the crowd going because you're talking about whiskey, but it's kind of good that it's only gotten 2 plays this year. We can look at the all-time here because 2022 it was played to the death. So in 2009 it came out, but it was played a lot for this type of song. Yeah, there's been songs that were played more, but 2022 definitely played a lot. I feel like I got it 2 or 3 times there. And also in 21 we got that at the Gorge at 9-4. So let's see, is Ted Bro ready? Still waiting on Ted Bro. I may just reach out to try to call him in a second, but I know he was trying to get a ride there. All right. While we're waiting, let's talk about this fall tour. We'll get to the DMB Gorge Crew graphic because they made a cool graphic. I know a couple of people have made this, but we have this fall tour graphic. Let's get to this, and I have a shout out to Darren. Darren sent me this, some information on this, and it's kind of tied to the venues that were picked for this. So let's start off with my thoughts, and then we'll get to the kind of, not conspiracy theory, but this interesting tie-in about some of the venues that were added last year and this year, and the ownership group that runs it. But this tour, okay, obviously people are not going to be happy if they don't have DMB in their neighborhood. But the reality is, love it or hate it, you have a couple of things here. First, you have the fact that 10 years ago, the band went to South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and they did this in the fall / the late part of the year. They didn't have a fall tour at all. So we could have had nothing, could have had no fall tour. But we do have this, we're blessed with these shows to actually be happening. So some people are upset about these because there's no Midwest, there's no West, but we may have not had anything at all. And DMB shows, some DMB shows is better than no shows at all. As in 2013, they go down to South Africa amongst other international dates, and they don't have any fall touring in the US. Second is you have to think logistics for this tour. They have to, once that New York show ends on November 18, 2023, they have to ship some equipment by boat, which is going to take a couple of weeks, to South Africa. So, of course, the East Coast is going to be more favorable because it's the closer coast to South Africa by boat. You can go by West Coast, but but it's longer than to go to the East Coast, right? Go across the Atlantic down. I've actually been to South Africa, did the 20-hour flight there. It took 24 hours total for me to get to Cape Town when I flew in 07, but it's a long flight, let alone a long trek by boat. And it's cheaper to ship things by boat. So they got to be on the East Coast to end this tour, right? So you have dates further down the coast in Savannah. You move up more inland to Greenville, Seaville for 2, Mohegan Sun, Uncasville, Connecticut for 2, and then you get New York City. Now, people are complaining, oh, there's no West Coast dates, there's no Midwest dates. Well, last year they did a bunch of West Coast dates. Is J-Bo on? I thought I saw J-Bo on there. J-Bo went to Salt Lake City, right? It was a rare opportunity. Yes, they didn't do LA. They didn't do San Francisco. They didn't do major cities, but who wants to be in them? By the way, yeah, who wants you think the band's trying to go to San Francisco right now? Right? Yeah, they trying to go to San Francisco right? Nah. But anyway, all jokes aside, they did do Seattle, which has some wild stuff going on there. Anyway, and that's not the whole city, but still. They had West Coast last year. They're not going to do 2 consecutive years of West Coast date. That's not what D&B is for these East Coast, for these tours. They typically it's based around the East Coast, shorter distances, a lot of fans concentrated heavily all across the Eastern Seaboard. So that's what they typically do for the fall tour. So out west, they're not going to do that because they just did it. And some of those venues sold okay. Some of them did horrible. Seattle did well. They did a Saturday in Portland. It wasn't sold out. I mean, what are you going to do? Why would they go back the next year? They tapped a lot of those markets. Some people said Vegas. That was the rumor. There was a rumor about Vegas from some sources. But it's hard for this type of tour when you have to go to South Africa to pop in on a Vegas. This is a short tour, although granted, it's one less show than the Lazy Pearl Jam fall tour where they never tour consistently. Lazy son of a guns. Get some more touring, Pearl Jam. That's why I've never been to a show because they went to MSG last year, and there's one show, right? And that's it for the East Coast. The tickets were outrageous because they don't fill this demand. Anyway, West Coast, listen, West Coast guys, you have a show tonight and you have the Gorge. People are like, oh man, we never get fall. You just had a fall tour and you have the Gorge. Enjoy the Gorge. The Midwest, I can understand some of the anger on the Midwest, but at the same time, the Midwest is different for the winter, right? And you just had shows. You had Minneapolis, you had Chicago, you had Nebraska, right? It was Omaha, Nebraska. So they're not going to go back right away. The other thing is, I know the winter, the Midwest is different in the winter. They do. Some people think Columbus. Some people claim Ohio is the Midwest. Some people don't. It depends on where you live and your viewpoint. But the Midwest, it's a whole different vibe for the winter versus the summer. First of all, you have Indianapolis in the wintertime is not a place people are going to travel to in droves. That's why you have more Chicago-based shows for Midwest fall tours or winter tours, right? Plus, Deer Creek in the summertime, people drive from all points, beautiful weather, great time. People have time off. They can take, some teachers have, they have the summer off, and Deer Creek is a great seller of a show. But getting to Indianapolis and wanting to be in Indianapolis in the winter is something that is not desirable. So Indy doesn't have a show.
Nope.
And Chicago just had a show last year. I will say this: Kansas City and St. Louis are two markets that DMB seems to be moving away from those markets. Some people were upset. I know some shout out to the people from the STL, St. Louis. They were like, hey man, like there was a rumor that there was going to be a St. Louis show, but I didn't hear much after they mentioned it. There wasn't much after that. The strongest rumors were for Seville in New York, and then recently, right before the announcement, Mohegan, and then literally like hours before the announcement, Savannah and Greenville popped up. But St. Louis, like, first of all, they never played the Enterprise, was it Arena Enterprise Center, which had a couple different names, but like they've never played that. Nor is downtown St. Louis like a must gather place in the winter, let alone during the summer outside of a Cardinals game, right? Going to downtown St. Louis, be like, oh, I gotta go. So the better option for the winter and a venue that's had one DMB show in '09 would be Kansas City. Kansas City is the bigger metro as well, larger city. And it's kind of, you could argue the metro is going up. This Kansas City itself is losing population, but the Kansas City metro area, which includes portions of Kansas and Missouri, right on that, was it the Missouri River? I believe is right there. That is a better place to have it. I've been to the Sweet 16 in Kansas City and the Power and Light District where they have the venue, which is the Sprint. No, not Sprint. It's not Sprint. It's the T-Mobile Center. T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, but T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri hosts the Big 12 basketball championships. You know, over the years, it's been that host as well. That's a better city to go to in the winter. It's walkable. It's, you know, that portion of where it is safer than St. Louis, although Kansas City has its own issues with crime. But it's a better area. You have KC Live right there. You have there's a distillery I've been out there at. There's a lot of great food options. Negro Leagues museum for baseball. So Kansas City would be the better for the winter. Where the summer, I would argue Maryland Heights, Missouri, which is outside of St. Louis, is the better outdoor venue. But yeah, I don't know why they haven't had a show. Now, what is interesting about some of these newer venues the band has been doing, these newer venues, so we have Savannah and Greenville, and also last year, a venue that was played before, but was bounced back, Omaha's venue. So Seattle, Nampa, and Omaha are part of a group called the Oakview Group. And I'll pull it up right here. Right, this is Oakview Group. So you see Shy Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska. That is the Omaha. They picked them last year. And same thing with Climate Pledge Arena. So it's possible they have some sort of deal. Now, this is a large conglomerate of venues that are managed and operated. But they picked specifically last year. They had Shy Health, Climate Pledge, and they had what else? Nampa, Idaho. Now you also see this is Savannah, Georgia, right here in Market Arena. This is a brand new facility, opened in February of 2022. The Eagles played here, and this is usually the first year of some of these venues like this. They try to get big acts. I remember Bruno Mars played at MGM in Springfield and at Fenway, even though could sell out that venue, which is around the same size as in Market Arena, a very small venue. So, Heinz, stop calling me. We're not getting you on the line here. You didn't go to the show. Dude, I see my phone. Look, Heinz is calling me. We need Ted, bro. All right. Let's see. Is he ready? We'll see. We'll take a check in just a second. But it's possible. It's interesting how these venues were. Heinz, stop calling me, man. We'll get you on another show where there's no tour date, but we're talking DMB. We'll get you on then. Um, let's see. But anyway, so this is interesting. Oakview Group. Perhaps there's something there where they're trying out venues there. There's a partnership of some sort because the first two shows are Oakview, Charlottesville, Mohegan, and New York, MSG. Those are venues that the band just has a lot of fans traveling to. The other thing about this is the venues, like there's no Boston, there's no Philly, and shout out to all the fans out there. I love Philly. I'm a Sixers and Flyers fan. I love going to Boston. I hate driving in Boston, but I mean I go to Boston at least 3 or 4 times a year. I'll be there next month as well. Dang, I'm getting a runny nose and stuff now. Anyway, um, the venues here, all of them but MSG, are venues that don't have multiple top level pro teams. Savannah has a minor league hockey team, but they call it pro hockey. But the other key thing is Boston and New York, DC. Even I pulled up the Ball Arena. I pulled up that's in Denver because people were upset about Denver, and I get it. They didn't have a show this year. In Denver sells well, and they didn't have a show. So, but it's just there's not a lot of availability for some of these arenas that in major markets because they have 2 pro teams, if not more. Staples Center has 2 basketball teams and a hockey team, right? That's crazier. So I pulled up, like for instance, Ball Arena. This is their availability for the limited run. And again, this tour cannot go past the 18th. It cannot go past the 18th. All right. Because they have to ship everything out. So that limits them. And then Tim Reynolds, TR3 is awesome. Check them out if you can. They have some stuff in the Carolinas, in the Mid-Atlantic portion of the country. They end their tour in mid-October. And so the band only really has the first couple of weeks of November to have a tour. And look at this is Ball Arena. Look at all the stuff scheduled. The similar things going on in Boston, and also similar things going on in Philly as well. Philly has limited dates because they have a lot of different tenants. Excuse me there. So let me try Ted Bro. I'm going to try to call him to see. Oh, he's ready. Ted Bro's ready. All right. So that's why you probably don't have a tour. And this is the reality. If you don't live in a certain part of the country, you're not going to get it every year they have a fall tour. So Mohegan has people from Boston will come down to Mohegan. People from New York State will come down. That's why they love a lot of, like, Mohegan is one venue of the year. It also gets a lot of fans even outside of DMB. Bruce Springsteen has shows there. Billy Joel did a bunch of shows when it first opened. Mohegan is beloved. There's a couple country acts, big country acts that do this intimate venue. There. So let's go back to Gorge's Crew, and then we'll get to Ted Bro in just a second. He's ready. But yeah, in Seville, here's the thing. I think Seville in 2018, they had some issues filling up. The uppers were like $2-3 tickets right before. Now that they haven't had any Virginia shows all year, it's gonna pump up all the people in Virginia who were upset and commenting to me like how mad they were there was no Virginia shows. Now they're gonna keep that same energy and go to Seville along with other fans traveling. So you'll have fans there. Savannah Georgia has not had a show in a fall tour since at least around 2012. And they're going to have Savannah. So people from Atlanta who filled up Alpharetta are going to now go down to Savannah. And that's going to be a great show. In Greenville, South Carolina, you have a lot of fans from the Carolinas who didn't have Charlotte Raleigh, who are considering going to Greenville even over Charlottesville just because it's hard for them to swing that weekend and get a hotel in Charlottesville, so they're just going to go to Greenville based on where they're at, their opening, their availability. So, again, so the last, I love too how Charlottesville has two nights. Mohegan has 2 nights, and New York has MSG has 2 nights. I like these 2-night stands versus a bunch of one-off shows. I thought that the song flow for the last fall tour, the tour didn't have a great set list diversity outside of Minneapolis until you got to MSG. Like Pig finally was played, the final show of that tour last year. And a lot of that I attribute to the fact there was a bunch of one-off shows. When you have these 2-night stands, you get 2 nights of music. You get 2 nights of music. And you get you're going to get 2 pretty much unique sets. All right, let's talk to Ted, bro. Let me just get him on. Give me 1 second. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button, and we're going to get to... All right, we're gonna see something real quick. We'll see what. Give me a second. I'm gonna do something. We'll call Ted, bro.
Hello.
Hey, it's your boy Conceviz34. How you doing?
I'm good, Marcus. It's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, let's try this. Go, Pack, go. No,
yes, that's what I'm talking about here. I love some Packer love here.
So tell us about this show in Bend, Oregon. How was it?
Marcus, I had a wonderful time tonight. We started super early this morning, actually. We all started to tailgate, kind of line up early because it was kind of first come, first serve if you didn't get the warehouse fast express line. So we started out early. But the show itself was a wonderful time. It was pretty chill, laid back, but anytime you play Spoon, Jimmy Thing, Drunken Soldier, there was no complaints. I had a wonderful time tonight.
Yeah, Drunken Soldier gets out west, and then like you said, Spoon, you get a Spaceman versus versus the Funny the Way. I like Funny the Way It Is. I actually love it with Buddy's solo, but you got that's a unique Big Whiskey song.
It is, and I like that they're switching it up too.
Definitely. They've rotated that. Obviously, no Baby Blue tonight, but that's always a possibility for the Gorge given this year. And then Monsters continues to come through. You like Break Free late in the evening. So you guys got a lot of stuff.
Break Free this evening too had an awesome jam. It was wonderful.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yes, and Carter too, if I must say, he was on a whole new level tonight. The whole time, I was blown away, song after song, just by his sheer intensity and some of the things he was doing with those cymbals.
Yeah, I was editing the SPAC Night 1 show, and just listening to everything, like trying to sync all the videos together to the audio, listening to Carter on every single song. I've always appreciated him, but like editing that video just made me appreciate him much more. All the stuff that he does here. Let's also, I think the other thing, because we talked to another fan about the show, but I want to talk about this poster. Did you line up for the poster?
No, well, actually, I was lucky enough to score it prior to the merch tent opening up. I did, however, grab some scoring trading cards tonight, so that was kind of cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I know their limited run, just to let you guys know, the limited run at the shows for some of the bigger weekends, like I have some from SPAC that I bought. I didn't buy them at the show. They sold out at the show, but I have these I ordered them online after the show ended. But the ones at the show, it's was it 125 or what's the think it's like 125
It was, yeah, I think it was a pretty small run.
or 150. I think it may be 150 or 125. So those the show ones have value. Do you know if the poster's sold out?
I'm not entirely sure if the poster's sold out. I went past, I think, later in the evening, not late in the evening. It was still there, if I'm not mistaken. But there's still a good amount of people, though, who purchased it. There was quite a few poster tubes in hands.
Gotcha. And Ben's it's an interesting venue because in 2021, they had a poster as well that was popular amongst poster collectors.
Yep.
But
Yep.
depending on who shows up to Ben, and at that time it was after the Gorge, I believe.
Yes.
After the Gorge, you're not going to get as many people who love posters or just diehard fans that continue their journey. They're going to go back home, and a lot of fans,
Yep.
even
Gorge
for
is
this,
typically it.
even for this show tonight, we have fans that are going to the Gorge, but you still have some fans who are flying out tomorrow to go to the Gorge. They want to just prep for their camping. So I think this poster will sell out if it is put online, and it didn't sell out tonight.
It may have sold out. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say for certain.
Right. Either way, if it's put online, it'll sell out. The AP versions of this, people across the country are going to want this. Poster by Bailey Race. It's a poster he's done as part of, he's made a little mini series in theme with the character that he's put across these, and he put that on Instagram today.
I saw it. Yeah, I really like the story behind the poster itself too.
Yeah. And that's just, again, with Daniel Danger, Bailey Race. I know Daniel Danger, he's probably not going to do 50 not 50, but like he's not going to do 5 or 6 posters a year for DMB. He's got a lot of demand. But for Bailey Race, hey, I think I would sign him to a 10. Speaking of the Packers and football, I'd sign him to a 10 poster contract.
I like it. Yep.
And
he produces really good posters every time.
Yeah. And that's what the fan base has appreciated him. He's actually part of at least one of the poster groups, if not more than one, where he's, engaged with this community. And I think it's a great matchup.
Absolutely.
Now the crowd, how was the crowd around you right at the rail?
It wasn't too bad. There was a little bit of some friction at the beginning of the night because getting in, it's a different animal there because everyone, with it being general admission, is trying to get to the front. So it was different than other pits that I've been in because it seemed like people were just crowding in a lot faster, and there's some disrespectful people who were trying to get in line, into places that they probably shouldn't have been. But I mean, for the most part, though, it was still pretty chill. That place is an extremely chill place. I have nothing but good things to say about it. The security was great there. All the staffing was wonderful. You could tell that it was a really smooth operation, and that it was definitely not the first time that they had done something like this.
I'm playing some video. It looks like Dave signed a sign here.
Yes.
What does that sign say?
So let me tell you. So this family in front of us, the coolest part of today was sitting in line for 12 hours basically, and just all the different people that you interacted with and all the new families that you met, hearing everyone's story. But yeah, this family in particular, this girl had a sign that said, Dave, write me a tattoo. And she was able to get that a tattoo, drawn on for her. She also got a set list. She got a pic. She got the poster. It was just like the absolute dream night for this girl, and it was so cool to witness and see, so close to them.
That's awesome, and it looks like someone is live streaming. I see a phone.
Yep,
I think that was the couch tour.
It was probably on the couch tour or something like that.
Yeah, because the view, I know on Twitter, people were posting that the couch tour was right up at the rail or a person behind. So I think that was the view from there. But yeah, very cool to see that here. And are you going to the Gorge?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just like you mentioned earlier, I'm catching a flight tomorrow afternoon, heading to the Gorge to meet up with I'm heading to Seattle, to meet up with my cousin who lives there. We're gonna get all of our prep and everything, all the kind of finalized things for the Gorge ready tomorrow, and then Thursday we'll head up for night 0, and then we'll be there for the weekend.
Are you camping, or you got a spot?
Yep, no, we're roughing it. It's like I said, it'll be our first time. My cousin who I'm going with, he's actually never seen a Dave show before, so
Wow.
I told him this is the way to do it, and we'll be camping in Standard. We're just gonna get some tents for each other, and kind of rough it and have the time of our lives.
That's awesome. And hey, we just want to say really quickly, we're thinking about you and your family. I know you had posted here about your father and how this show hits different, but
Absolutely.
we just want to send our thoughts, our prayers, our support to you. That is something that is not easy to have to move forward without a parent, losing a parent, but just a beautiful tribute you had today.
It really was, Marcus, and I really appreciate the kind words. And it was an amazing day, but it was also an extremely difficult day. But I tell you what, the community here, the people, you guys have really lifted me up and really just meant a lot to me in these times that have been so extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I really feel like I wouldn't be able to be the person I am, or experience the things I am, without you guys. So I really lean on you in these really tough times, and I appreciate all the love that is shared with me.
Definitely. But thanks for, and I love you. Take us, if you guys, Ted Bro 41, follow him on Twitter. You take us, the shows you go on, the people you bring along with you to these shows, right? You brought, didn't you bring someone else to a show? Was that?
Yeah, I brought my other cousin too. Yeah. Yep. I try and get everyone I know to a Dave show, because it's just such a special experience that I think everyone has to kind of have.
Yeah, that's what's cool, seeing you on Twitter, just bringing people to shows, going to shows, traveling. It's really cool to see
that's
you.
what it's about.
Yeah.
Shout out Bridget, Carpe Diem. That stuff is so true, and I'm trying to make the most of it while I can, because I can now.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Bridget, we just want to send our best out. I'll talk about it after we get you off the phone, but Bridget is more in a safer area of Florida. But we do have some DMB fans in Florida that
all of the fans
are stuck right now, trying to figure out what to do. Some of them may end up just staying in Florida to, help their family, or to just, shelter in place. They can't get to an airport. Some fans have left Florida. If they don't have obligations there, they've already just evacuated and are looking for flights somewhere else north, flights north of Florida and Georgia, or even in other states. And their gorge plans are kind of in jeopardy. So we're just thinking of all of them. We're hoping, if they feel comfortable, or if they feel safe, or they don't have family that they need to attend to, that they're able to get to the gorge. And if they do stay home, that everything is okay. That storm is going to be making landfall in a couple of hours from now. But thank you for being on, Ted Bro. We look forward to seeing more of your adventures on your Twitter page, as far as going to meet up with your cousin and then making that trek through Squilnami Pass, which is amazing, and also seeing you look over that crested hill, or cresting the hill, and seeing exactly what this venue is about. I'll tell you this, me, I look at set lists, I look at data, I look at stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the gorge, my first gorge weekend, and even in 2021, the second gorge weekend I did, yes, I'm aware of what's being played, but there's something about that venue that it doesn't matter to me really what's played. It's just the peace and the calm you get being there, the feel of family all around you, even people I met literally that show, the first night, that now I talk to, a couple of times a year, or I catch up with at another show with them. It's so much more than the music. You go to SPAC, for the music. I mean, yeah, tailgate. You go to Alpine for the music, but the gorge, the whole, like the scenery, the campgrounds. If you have a hotel, or you have a Airbnb, I've been to people's Airbnb, and there's all Dave fans around them, and you're making friends there. So it's the community portion of the gorge it overpowers what's actually being played. As long as they don't play by you 10 times in a row,
Hey,
they can play
I
it
wouldn't be any
once.
too upset about that.
Yeah,
at first.
they played it at the Gorge. I think both years I went, but it's not even about that. You're not even thinking about the set.
No.
You're just thinking about, this is the happiest place in the world. It's not Disney World, it's the Gorge. And I'm excited for you to experience that.
Hey, I really appreciate that, Marcus. Yeah, I'm excited beyond words. Super excited to meet up with all the Twitter family too, and to really make the most of it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be special.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and you have a good rest of your day. Take care.
Marcus, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Now.
All right. So that was Ted Bro. Great to have him on, and just great guy. As people who live in Wisconsin, everyone from Wisconsin I've met, from the DMB family and non-DMB family. I used to have a coworker who was from Wisconsin, who was in Connecticut. I think her father was a Lutheran minister, and she was just extremely kind. So that is the show. I don't think I missed anything. Gorge is up next. And then we're off. We'll be back for I'll be back for a Farm Aid. Farm Aid is a cause near and dear to my heart. I have farming in my family. I've never, listen, I'll be honest, I've never worked on a farm or did anything, but the cause of farmers, the support for farmers, the stories I've heard, the people I know who have farms, we need to help America's farmers. And Farm Aid does that. A lot of people have let them down across political spectrums, across community spectrums, across business platforms, not supporting local farms or incorporating them into the economy. And many farmers have had some tough decisions. Was it 75% of dairy farms since the 70s are all out of business? It's 25% left if they were started in the 70s or earlier. Farm Aid is a special thing, so we'll have a show for that, and consider donating to that. All right, so we're going to close out with another James Casey feature. This is actually one I was not able to make this show just because I needed to take some time to relax and rest up. But there was a show. This is one of James Casey's last appearances. I don't know if it was his last, because I kind of lost track. I know he was coming back, and then all of a sudden I heard he was sidelined. But he came to Connecticut here at the Westville Music Bowl in New Haven, Connecticut. And I was supposed to be at this Phil and Friends show, and in many ways I wish I was, even with him and some of his peers. He was around his peers for this show, and one of his, last memories on stage, if not the last memory on stage, I don't know for sure. But we're going to play a little bit of this. We'll play a little bit of this and then we'll end. But thank you guys for the support. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Again, Florida people, I hope you're doing well. Let me say this too. And I don't know if Bridget's watching on DMB Mamas was on for a second, but Florida is, I work in the insurance industry, so I know this for a fact. But our fans and family and people we know in Florida, insurance, like these storms, every storm they have, even if it only hits a certain part of Florida, it jacks up insurance prices. There are insurance companies that have left the state of Florida. They don't even want to insure anyone. They don't care. Like the risk is too high. There's still roofs from the last storm last year that have not been fixed. There's a backlog of roofs. There's a lot of fraud, but insurance in Florida is getting crazy, and it's because people don't even want to. Insurance companies don't even want to insure property or at all in Florida, and people are being kicked out. Imagine if every time your insurance policy is going to be renewed, it's possible they can kick you off of your policy because they're leaving the state or they think your area is too high risk. What used to be a haven to be cheaper to retire in is now a nightmare for many of people who are working class are middle class, and they thought they could retire down there. And now the prices are pushing them back north. But anyway, this storm is not only going to impact those who are in its path, but it's going to impact the entire state of Florida as far as the cost of insurance. Insurance companies may leave based on this storm, right? So I'm thinking of all the DMB fans and people in general, everyone down in Florida right now, because this storm is going to have implications, and that's not talked about enough on the news of what's going on in Florida and the dangers of and the cost, the rising costs. There's families right now that are just deep into uh, being late on payments for their mortgage and their car insurance because the cost of living in Florida is just extreme. So anyway, oh yes, Hines. Yeah, Hines is in Colorado. Yes, Colorado gets a lot of hail. People may not know that because you think, oh, it's Colorado. It's called no, they get hail. I actually had to cover auto claims at my last job for Colorado because there was something where they needed coverage that state. So I got licensed real quick in Colorado, and we actually helped with some of the claims there. Even though I was more East Coast in insurance, I was licensed in the East Coast. But I got my license in Colorado. It was like something where you could get it. It was easier to do it, learn the rules, and I was helping out with that. And in Colorado, you have 70 degrees one day, hail the next day, and then you have snow the next day. Yeah, it's wild. And then also Colorado has those mountain passes, which certain times of the year you just don't travel. So does Washington State. Some of the mountain passes just close down, or they tell you, hey, if you're a truck and don't have chains on your truck, you don't even bother going up this mountain pass. All right, that's it. Enough talk. But yeah, just FYI, if you're looking to move to Florida, please do your research. Please do I have family in Florida, and like I said, work in insurance. It's you got to weigh out the costs of various things, and insurance literally can jump up 100%, 75% year over year from the previous year's cost. So you got to have that much. Florida is not a place to retire. If you don't got no money and you're in Florida, it can get tough. So anyway, just a fair warning. I love Florida. I love traveling to Florida though, to visit and seeing family and doing touristy things. But yeah, if you're gonna live there, you gotta have your money right. No state income tax, but it evens out. Property taxes are wild. All right. Rest in peace to James Casey. We're gonna go ahead and pop this up here. We'll play a little bit of this, not the whole thing. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.